Have you ever wondered how a single moment can change the course of an entire life? What if Mufasa had never died? Would Simba have remained that innocent cub, running through the meadows without a care in the world? Or was his character bound to mature eventually, regardless? The truth is, Mufasa's death wasn't just a painful event in The Lion King, it was the pivotal turning point in Simba's character development. It marked his transformation from a naive young cub who knew nothing of responsibility into a great king who led the Pride Lands with wisdom. At first, Simba's personality embodied joyful childhood. He was a lively, curious little cub, preoccupied only with playing and exploring. Always seeking adventure, he knew no boundaries and feared nothing, as though the entire world was just one big playground. He would sneak into dangerous places despite his father's warnings, simply because he loved discovering new things. That wild, free-spirited nature represented a stage of childhood untainted by responsibility. Before Mufasa's death, Simba lived a carefree life, filled with hope and laughter, unaware of the weight of the world or the duties that awaited him. The relationship between Simba and Mufasa was one of the most beautiful ever depicted by Disney. Mufasa wasn't just a king ruling the Pride Lands. He was a loving father, an inspiring leader, and a guide for Simba at every step. He taught Simba what it meant to be a king, not just through strength, but through wisdom, compassion, and responsibility for all living beings. Mufasa would take Simba on walks to show him the world and explain that everything the light touches is part of the circle of life, and that his role as king was to maintain that balance. To Simba, Mufasa was the ultimate role model, the hero he aspired to become. This deep love made the loss all the more devastating, more than any young child could bear. Then came the defining moment, Mufasa's death. That moment changed everything. The innocent little cub suddenly found himself alone, scared, and confused. He saw his father fall from the cliff before his very eyes. He screamed, he ran, he tried to save him, but it was too late. Then came Scar, his uncle, planting seeds of guilt and fear. He convinced Simba that he was the reason his father died, and that he had to run away. Scar knew the fragile young cub wouldn't be able to handle the psychological weight, and he exploited the moment to remove Simba from his path. Shocked and emotionally shattered, Simba believed his uncle and fled, ran from everything: his past, his family, his duty, and even himself. This marked the beginning of a new chapter in Simba's life, his time in exile. He found himself in a strange land, alone and lost, until he met Timon and Pumbaa, two friends who never asked about his past or burdened him with expectations. They taught him a new philosophy: Hakuna Matata, no worries. This mindset became a refuge for Simba, a way to escape the pain, the guilt, and the memories. He loved this life because it demanded nothing from him. He didn't have to remember Mufasa, Scar, or the Pride Lands. He just lived day by day, eating, playing, and sleeping, free from responsibility. This phase was essential for his growth. It gave him space to breathe, but it wasn't the end. Something inside him still felt missing, something he unconsciously kept searching for. Then came the confrontation, the moment Simba returned to himself. When he met Nala, his childhood friend, she was shocked by what she saw. She couldn't believe that the cub destined to be king was now living a life of carelessness in the jungle. She urged him to return, to see that the Pride Lands were in danger, and that he had a responsibility to fulfill. At first, he resisted. He was afraid. He avoided the truth. But he couldn't ignore it forever. A fierce internal struggle began, between his past and present, between his desire to forget and his need to face reality. Then came Rafiki, the wise mandrill, who reminded Simba that Mufasa was still alive within him. That moment was the true turning point, when Simba looked into the water and saw his father's reflection in his own. Only then did he realize he could not run forever. Simba returned to the Pride Lands, but he wasn't the same. He was no longer the carefree cub. He had become a mature lion who understood that leadership means sacrifice, confrontation, and bearing pain. He faced Scar, his past, and himself. The battle wasn't only physical, it was deeply emotional. He fought to reclaim his father's legacy, the Pride Lands, and his own identity. With the help of Nala, Timon, Pumbaa, and Rafiki, he defeated evil and restored balance. Last King, Simba appeared in a completely new light. He was no longer the reckless cub, but a wise and responsible ruler. He had learned from his mistakes and used his pain to build a better future. He was just and strong, but never oppressive. He learned from Mufasa that a true king leads not with brute force, but with compassion and wisdom. He became a role model, not just for his daughter Kiara, but for everyone in the Pride Lands. He never forgot the lessons he had learned. He carried his father's memory in his heart and drew strength from it every day. Simba's story is one of profound personal growth, even in an animal world. It is a story of loss, escape, return, confrontation, and maturity. Every stage he went through was necessary, even the phase of running away from reality, because it taught him the value of responsibility. Mufasa died physically, but he lived on in Simba's heart, leaving behind a legacy that would never fade. In the end, Simba's journey, from innocent cub to wise king, mirrors our own journey in life. We go through pain, we sometimes run, and at other times we confront. But eventually, we grow, we learn, and we become stronger. The Lion King was never just a children's story. It was a powerful life lesson about love, loss, and the strength that lies within us all. Before Mufasa's death, Simba lived in a perfect world, unaware of responsibility. But after the loss, the pain, and the escape, he returned to find himself and fulfill his destiny. And that makes it one of the greatest stories of growth and transformation Disney has ever told. Perhaps that's the real reason why millions are so attached to this story, because it touches something true inside each and every one of us.